Today's daf is Masechta Sota Daf Lamedal. We are at the bottom of Lamed Gimel Beis, where the Gemara says Tanarabanan. So approximately 10 lines from the bottom, middle of the line, Tanarabanan. Zakta Gemara, Tanarabanan. Ketzad Avi Yisrael also Yarden. How did the Yidden go over the Yarden? And how did they do it? Zakta Gemara. Raisa explains, B'chol yoim, every day, Aaron Esei Achar Shnei Degalim. When the Yidden were commanded to travel, the Aaron would go after the two Degalim, Yehuda and Reuven. So there were 4 flags, 4 Degalim in the Midbar, a Degal for each of the 3 Shvatim. So each 3 Shvatim had 1 Degal, and the Degalim were called on the names of the Shvatim. So, like as before, by Midbar Parak Yud, Pasuk Yudal through Chav Ches, that first Degal Yehuda went, and then afterwards Bnei Gershon and Merari, the Noisei Mishkan. Afterwards was Degal Ruvain, and then it was Bnei Kahas that carried the Klei Mikdash, and then the Golam of Ephraim and Dan. So Zok the Gemara. So b'chol yoim Aaron Esei Shnei Degalim. We'll go after Yehuda's and Reuven's Degalim. V'hayoim, and the day that they went over the Yarden, Nasa Tchila, the Aaron went first before all the Degalim. Shenemar, like it says in the pasuk in Yeshua Paragimel pasuk Alf, Hini Aroin Habris Adayin Kol Haaretz Oiver Lefnechem. It went first in the Yarden, after the Yarden. And another difference is that b'chol yoim the Leviim, the Bnei Kahas and Noisim Sa'arayin, V'hayoim Nesua Kehanim. So every day when they traveled, the Bnei Kahas would carry the Aron. But this day that they went over the Yarden, the Kehanim carried it. Shenemar, it says a pasuk in Yeshua, Paragimel pasuk Yud Gimel, V'haya Kanoyach Kapos Ragli Hakoyanim Noisei Aroyin Hashem. Zok the Gemara Tanya learned in the Brayser. Rabbi Yossi says, the Shloshim Mekoimos, in 3 areas we find Nasu Koyanim Sa'arin, that the Koyanim carry the Aron and not the Leviim. Zok the Gemara, where are they? One is Ksha'avros Yarden, when the Yidden went over the Yarden, in the days of Yeshua ben Nun, and like the Gemara just pointed out from this Brayser that we saw. The second time we find like Sheseba is Yericho, when they circled Yericho with the Aron, Al Pi Tzivi from Hashem, that Hashem gave Yeshua in order to capture Yericho, and it says over there in Yeshua Parak Vav Pasuk Vav Yikru Yeshua ben Nun Al Koyanim V'Yirma Aleim Suas Aron Habris. He told the Koyanim to carry the Aron, and the third place is Kshechsiru LeMekayimai, when they returned the Aron in the days of Shlomo from the era of David to the Kodesh Hakadashim. So like it says in Malachim Alf Parak Ches Pasuk Vav, Ayaviu HaKoyanim as Aron Beres Hashem Mekayimai El Devir Bayis. So you see the Koyanim brought the Aron back to the Bayis, to the Beis HaMikdash. Zok the Gemara, the Kevon Shenitbul Raglei Kahanim B'Mayim, and the Kahanim, so they carried the Aron in the day that they went over the Yarden. So the Kevon Shenitbul Raglei Kahanim B'Mayim, once their feet dipped into the water, Chazar Amayim Lachareim, the waters went back and they stood there, and the water that came afterwards it built up like a wall. Shenemar, it says Yeshua Parak Gimel Pasuk Tesav Tazayin Uchavoy Noisei Aron Ad Yarden, and then it says V'Raglei Kahanim Noisei Aron Nitblu B'Ktzei HaMoyim, and then it says V'Yamdu HaMayim HaYordim Al Malo. So you see that any water came afterwards was Kamu Neid Echad. It turned into like a border. It formed a wall. How high was it when that water piled up? How high as well? Shneim Asar Mil, Shneim Asar Mil. So it says the height of the waters, like tomorrow, was 12 mil on 12 mil, which is Keneged Machne Yisrael, which seems like the length of Machne Yisrael was the size, the measurements, it was 12 by 12 mil. So somehow from they went into the yard until the last person got out, it was a distance of 12 mil. So that's why the mayim went up to that size of 12 mil. Zok the Gemara, Divrei Reb Yehuda. That's what Yehuda holds. Amar Loi Reb Elazar, Reb Shimon, Reb Shimon told Reb Yehuda L'dvarecha that the mayim was the size of Shir Machane Yisrael. So he said, let me ask you a question. Adam Kal, or Mayim Kal, is which one goes quicker? Is a person go quicker than water, or does water go quicker than a person? Havi Omer, for sure that Mayim Kal, Mayim moves much quicker. So Ibizoi Imkain is Shver. Because Tascha should have said that since the water was so high, then L'chayev, so much water was piling up, by the time they're ready to leave the yard, and the water was going back to its place. It should have just caught up to them. It should have flooded everyone that was standing there. So Zakti Gemara Ella Relazar Shimon says, "M'lam shayim mayim nigdashin, va'oilin keepin agabe keepin yoser mishloish meis mil." So Zakti Relazar Shimon. So you see that he holds that the mayim, the waves, they piled up one on top of another, more than 300 mil. Acharo oisan kol malchim mizrach u'mayev till the all the malachim of east and west saw them. Shenemar, it says pasuk Yeshua parakei pasuk Alf yichishmoy kol malchei amari asher be'er yadin yama v'chol malchei aknan shal ayam isa shahivis Hashem esmei yad b'nei bnei Yisrael Avram vayimas lavavam leibehem oid ruach b'nei bnei Yisrael va'avrach v'azayna amra. Also, Rocham Azayna told Pinchas the Kolav, the Shluchim of Yeshua, and it says in Yeshua, Parak Beis Pasuk Yud, Kishamanu, we heard it, Shahovish Hashem Esmei Yamsuf, and then the Goymer Chsiv, and it says, Vaiter in the Pasuk Yud Alf, it says that she said, V'nishma, and it was heard, Vayimas Lavavenu Lo Kama Oid Ruach, and then it says, Ruach Be'eshim Pneichem, they were scared of the Yidden because they saw this great nace. Zog the Gemara weiter. Oidam, when the Yidden were still b'yard, they were still in the yard, and so Amalan Yeshua told the Yidden, Du'u al-mo atamayir misayardin. You should know for what reason are you going over the Yarden. Amanasha tarishu es yoshvi ha'aretz b'neichem, that you should drive out the Yoshvei Aretz, the people that occupy the land. And Moshe already warned us, Shenemar, it says, and Yeshua told him, Matam Oisim Kain Mutav, then he could go over the yard in Shalom in peace. Then the water is going to come, and it's going to wash you away. So Zaktim Mara Mai Oisichem, what's a Lashon? He said, Shoitim Oisichem, what does Oisichem mean? Zaktim Gemara Mai Oisichem, what's a Lashon? The Brisa said of Oisichem, why didn't you just say Oischem, Shoitim Oischem? So he shows me Ramas them that Oisi Ve'eschem. He's trying to say that if you now makabel this on yourselves, then the Mayim is going to be Shoitim you and us, you and me. Zakting Gemara weiter, Yeshua told them another thing. Oidam b'yardin, when it's still in Yardin, Amalan Yeshua told the 12 Shvatim that they prepared for this before they went over the Yardin. He said, it says in Yeshua, Parak Dal Pasuk, Hey, Arimu lechem ish emen achas al shichma, l'mispar shifti Yisrael, and so put a stone on your shoulder and put it in the Yardin under where the Kohanim would stand, because they were the Kohanim would come first into the Yarden with the Aron. So this took place inside the Yarden. And it says in Yeshua Paragvav Pasuk Zayin, Lamanti is Ois B'Kirbechem, Ki Yishalom B'Neichem Mocher. If you children would ask you, Lemer Ma Avadim Eilu Lachem, what are these stones? And it says, V'Martam Lahem Asher Nichusu Meim HaYarden, V'Hoya Avadim Eilu Zikarim B'nei Yisrael. So it's a Zaktim Gemara, Simon Levanu Shavru Avos Yard. The Simon that the Avos they crossed over the Yarden. And part of the nace was that the Alshich says you have to say that the stones did not sink into the water, rather they floated on top of the water. And the Minchas Sota says that that's why the Chachamim estimated the shear of the Avanim was Memsa, because stones of that size would have either be seen outside the water. They told him, Yeshua told 12 Shvatim. It's like it says in Yeshua Parak Dal Pasuk Gimel, Su'ulachem mizet mitoch hayadim matzav ragle akayanim hochin shtemes ravanim. Get ready 12 avanim. Other ones avartam oisim imochem. Bring it over with you. Inachem oisim amolan shlina by alayla. You should put them by the wherever you're going to stay tonight, wherever you're going to sleep over. Zok Gemara, what does it mean? Talina by alayla. Yocha, I might think b'chol malan and malayin that you should put it in every place where you sleep. Talmud learn Talina by halayla dafka. The Mulloin and the Gilgal where they slept that night when they went over the yard, but not in every place that they slept. Zok the Gemara Vaita Amr Yehuda or Yosi Abba Chalafta or Belazar Ramasa and Chananya and Chachinai. These three Tanam Amdu Al Oisan Avonim. They were aimed on the shear. What were the size of those stones? The shear Kalachas Va'achas was Shkula Karbam Sa weighed like 40 saw. So the first book says that means that it was a size of 40 saw of mayim. The Gemiri tuna the madle inish lakasve. Chacham had a Kabbalah that each person was able to put a stone on top of his shoulder without his friend helping him. Tilsa tuna havi. So the Gemara is saying there's a Kabbalah that the Chacham understood that a person could carry 1/3 of what he could carry by himself, but if people help him, he could carry 2/3 more. So if he could carry 1 saw by himself, then with help he could carry 120 saw. So Mikan, the Gemara, according to his cheshbon, that each person carried 40 saw without his friend helping get the stone on his shoulders. At the Machashev le'eshkol. So you would cheshbon that the eshkol that the Meraglim carried on their shoulders with help. It says that 2 of them carried the eshkol. Shenemar, because it says by the Meraglim, Vayichusu B'minur Parag Yud Gimel Pasuk Chaf Gimel, Vayichu B'sham Zamar B'eshkol Noam Echa Vayisau. They carried the eshkol B'amoit B'shnayim. They carried it on 2 sticks. So in Masha Shenemar B'amoit Any Adeya that Shab'shnayim. If it was on a stick, then 2 people had to carry it. So Zakti Gemara, so Matam learn B'shnayim. So you have to say there was B'shnei Moitis, that there's actually 2 sticks, and each stick would be carried by 2 people. So there's 4 people had to carry 1 eshkol. Zakti Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak says that they carried the eshkol. It was 8 people carried it. They did it in Tortani. It was an oifen of Tortani. So it had 2 sticks under it supporting it going across, but then it had 2 sticks going the other way, and they crossed over each other like an X. So it was 4 sticks. Each stick had 2 people carrying it. HaKeitzad, Shmeina naso eshkol, Echa naso rimain, ve'echa naso te'ena. So the 10 miraglim that carried payers. So since 8 miraglim carried eshkol together, and each one could carry 120 saw with the help of a friend. So the weight of 1 eshkol anovim was 960 saw, according to this cheshbon. But Zakti Gemara, Yeshua v'kol ve'nasu klum. However, Yeshua and Kol did not carry anything, and the reason is Ibayis Ema. If you want, you could say Mishum the Chashivi because they were a chashiv, and it didn't pass for them to carry Paris. Ibayis Ema, because the kavanah of the Meraglim and carrying the Paris was to bring Dibas Haaretz. It was a negative thing, and therefore Yeshua v'kol Shloi Hoyu ba'isa eitz. They were not in the eitz of Meraglim. Therefore, they did not carry Paris. And even though Lamais over here, but Avana Moshe commanded on this Tziva, so it should have been different. I'm sorry, even though Moshe commanded them on the EIM of Eretz Yisrael, even though Moshe commanded them to go to Eretz Yisrael, but it wasn't. The commandment wasn't to bring out the negative Eretz Yisrael, rather to just bring out the Shvach of Eretz Yisrael. Zok the Gemara weiter. Kechaniyasan Avru. Machne Yisrael, when they rested, it was 12 mil long. And that was the time that it took for them to go over the Yarden, and therefore the Mayim had to go up. The Divrei Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon that said that it went up 300 mil, because he says Bezach Hazeh, he holds that they went over the Yarden one after another, and that's why the Mayim had to go so high. V'chad Amar Bein Mar Bein Mar, K'chaniyas and Avru. And one says that everybody holds a K'chaniyas and Avru. The Machlokes is that Mar Savar Adam Kal, Mar Savar Mayim Kal. One man holds that the water moves quicker than a person. One man holds that the person moves quicker than water. So if the water moves quicker than the person, then therefore it had to be very high. That's Pshat in the Shita, that it had to be 300 mil high. Zok the Gemara, the Gemara is going to continue to explain the parish of Meraglim. So it says that Hashem told Moshe, Amindor Parakid Gimel, Pasuk Beis, Shalach L'cha Anoshim, Omer Eish Lakish. You could dash on the word L'cha, that when Gideon came to Moshe and asked to send Meraglim, Moshe asked Hashem. And Hashem told him, Shlach L'cha Midaitcha. Hashem told him, I don't want to do it, but if you want to send, you could send. And what's the raya? Is a person going to be boicher? Is a person going to choose for himself something that he knows is going to be bad for him? So the same thing, is Hashem going to command him something that's going to bring a takala? And for the fact that it came out of takala from it, muzayin that wasn't the Ratzon Hashem. So Zakti Gemara, v'hainu d'chsiv, and the fetus pshat the shlichus hameraglim wasn't the Ratzon Hashem. Hainu d'chsiv, this is also understood. The pasuk this said it said the Varam Parak Aleph pasuk of Beis, v'tikravun elai kolchem v'toimu nishcha anashim v'faneinu, and then it says v'yitav v'inay adavar. Amar Rish Lakish Zakti Gemara, and Rish Lakish says that Moshe said that it was the schav, and this that Moshe was a schav that it should be good, was dafke be'inai v'loy be'inav shel makom, wasn't Hashem's orders, because Hashem knew that something not good was going to come out of it. Zaktim Maravaiter, it says by the Meraglim that the Yidden asked Moshe in Devarim Parak Aleph Pasuk Chaf Hey v'yachbor lanu es haaretz. They should spy on us for the land. Zakti Gemara, they'll spy out the land. Zakti Gemara, Amar B'chiva said, Meraglim lo nischavnu ela boishesh Yisrael. When the Yidden wanted to send Meraglim, they were not the only nischavnu the bakasha only to show the genus of Eretz Yisrael. Zakti Gemara. And that's why the pasuk chaps as lashon chafira v'yachbru, which shows busha. Ksiv halcha, it says by ragav yachbru lanas haaretz. Ksiv hasan sends Yishai perich avdal pasuk v'gimel v'chafra halavana uvoisha hachama, and that means that the oivdei hachama, the ones that worship the chana and lavana, they will be embarrassed la'asad laves. So you see from here that the lashon chafra is a lashon busha, an embarrassment. That's how Rashi explains over there in Yeshaya from the Targum Yonasan. Zakti Gemara right there. It says by the Raglam Bamidro Parak Gimel Pasuk Dalet through Zayin ve'Ela Shmoisim Lamatu Rim Shamua Ben Zakur, and it says Ela Shmois Hanoshim Amri v'Yizchak Davar Zeh Mesaris B'Yadeinu Avasenu. This thing that we're going to say is a Mesaris B'Yadeinu Avasenu, that Meraglam Hashem Maseim Nikru Va'anu Lo also B'Yadeinu Ela Be'echad. That the Meraglim will call the Hashem their bad actions, and we only darshan l'ganai only one of them. And who is that? That is, as we see in Bamidbar Parak Yud Gimel Pasuk Yud Gimel, it says Sesur b'Michal. It says Sesur was Shesas HaMa'aser Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because Moitzi Laz on the land is like he's Seiser the Ma'asim of Hashem. That. Because Hashem said it was Eretz Avos Chol Udvash, and also his father's name is Michal, so we darshan that we darshan Michal she'asa atzmei mach. He made himself weak. With this, that he said that Hashem can't take With this that he said that Hashem would not be able to get rid of the goyim in Eretz Yisrael, so it's clearly made Hashem weak, that Hashem cannot win over them. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Af anu noimar. We could also dash on another name of Raglim Lignai, and it was Nachbi ben Vafsi. Nachbi shehichbi dvar v'shal Kadosh Baruch Hu. He concealed the words of Hashem, even though he saw the Shvacha Aretz, like he said that his Taiva b'chol zois, he concealed the truth of it, and he was Motzi Laz. And his father's name is Vafsi, Nachbi ben Vafsi, because Shepisal Midos V'Shal Kadosh Baruch Hu. He skipped over the Midas of Hashem because he didn't say the truth, the emes, rather he just said the Ganai. Zok Gemara Vayter, it says on the Paragim Paschav V'Yalav Negev Vayovel Cherem. It came up on the Negev and they came to Cherem. In fact, the Gemara Vayovel Yumi Boile should have said that they came Veloshan Rabim Kol Cherem, all came together. Zok Gemara Amar Ravok says Vayovel Malamed that they did not all go to Hebron. Rather, Shaperish Kalev Matas Meraglim, because Kalev went away from them, and V'Halach V'Nishtatach HaKivri Avis, and Kalev actually went himself to the Kivri Avis of Hebron. Amar Lahen, he told them, Avoisai Bakshalai Rachmim, ask them for me Racham She'en, and Yinatzal Manas Meraglim, that I should get saved from Matas Meraglim. Yeshua Kvar Bikesh Malav Rachim. Says Dr. Gemara, and although Yeshua also was in Natas and Raglim, but still he did not go to Hebron because Moshe already davened for him, asked Rachim for him. Shenemar, God says, V'aminu Paragim Pasuk Dezayin, V'yukar Moshe lo Yishaya benun Yeshua. You see that Moshe added a name to Hoshea's name, and he started calling him Yeshua, and he was mischaven to mispal, meaning to say Ka Yeshiyachem Atas Meraglim. That was the extra yud that Hashem should save him from the Atas Meraglim. And it says Vayikra Moshe lo Yeshaya. Vayikra, the Mizrahi says Bamidbar Parakid Gimel Pasuk Dezayin. It's a lashon tefillah. Yikra is a lashon tefillah, not a lashon kriya Hashem. Okay, Zakting Gemara Vayter. So, according to what we said, that Kalev went himself to Hebron. This is what it said. Bamidbar Parakid Dal Pasuk Chavdal Va'avdi Kalev Ekev Hoisa Ruach Acheres Imoi. Zakting Gemara, that's pshat. That Kalev was Zoicha in Hebron. It says because since Kalev went himself to daven in Hebron, so mainly he's Zoicha to Hebron being in his chelik. Shenemar, it says in Yeshua Paragidal Pasuk Gimel, Vayitein es Hebron lo Kalev ben Yefune le Nachalo. As Rashi explains. Zot Gemara Vayter. It says V'sham Achimon Sheishai v'Salmai. So we dash their names. Achimon was called Achimon because he's miyumin shebe'echav. He was the strongest of his brothers. Sheishai was called that. Shemesim esaretz. Kishchasais. Because he was so big, it seems like he made pits wherever he walked. Whatever he stepped on, he made a pit. So he would kind of leave big footprints wherever he went. Talmai, shemesim esa'aretz, talamim. Wherever he went, he was so heavy, it would make talamim. He would make like furrows in the ground wherever he went, just like when a plow went through. Davar achar achimon bana anos, he built anos. Sheishai bana alosh, he built a city called Alosh. Talmai Bana Talbush, Yelidia Anak, because they were called Yelidia Anak because Shamanigin Cham and Kermasam, because it was so high, it looked like their necks were going into the hole that the Chama comes out of. So and it looked like the hole was like a chain around the neck. Zokt the Gemara weiter. It says weiter in the Pasuk Hebron Sheva Shonim Nivnisa L'Fnei Tzayam Mitzrayim. It's fact the Gemara. My Nimnasa, what does it mean that it was Nimnasa? Elam Nimnasa Mamish. If you want to say Mamish, that Hebron was built 7 years before Tzayan. So Zok the Gemara, Elam Nimnasa Mamish. After Adam Barna Bayis LeKata and Lebnoya Kata and Koidim Lebnoya Gadol. Doesn't make sense that a person would build a house for his younger son before his older son, because Chum was the father of Canaan and Mitzrayim, and it's a portion of the pasuk that Canaan, which is Chum built Hebron for Canaan, and he was the younger than Mitzrayim, which is Mitzrayim was the one that he built Zion for. So does it make sense that he built Hebron for his younger son before he built Zion for Mitzrayim? Zakti Gemara. So how do you know? The Chesiv, it says Bereshis Paragid Pasuk Vav V'nei Cham Kusha Mitzrayim Ufot Tuchanan. So you see in the pasuk of Bereshis Paragid that Canaan was the younger son. Zakti Gemara, Ella, the pasuk means Shahaisa Mavunal Echad Meshiva B'Tzayan, that Hebron was built with good payers 7 times better. They were 7 times better than the ones in Tzayan. So Zakti Gemara, why? Because you see that there's no more of a rocky city in Eretz more than Hebron. It's the most rocky city. It's most stones and boulders and rocks. And that's why they set it aside to burying Mesim. There's nothing better in all lands more than Eretz Mitzrayim. Because it says, Bereshis Paragim Pasuk Yod L'fnei Shachas Hashem Sedem Amar Gan Hashem Keretz Mitzrayim. En Lacham Ulu B'Charetz Tzayin Yosem Mitzrayim. The nicest city area in Eretz Mitzrayim was Tzayin. Because it says the Pasuk Yeshaya Paraglam was Dal Gehayu B'Tzayin Sarav, that the Melech Yisrael came to ask Pari that he should be Loichem Neged Ashur. With the fact that it came to Tzayin, you see that it was in Tzayin. You see that was the most Chashav Makom. And Afilu Hachi Zakti Gemara that Tzayin Shem Mitzrayim was so chashuv, still it's saying that Hebron was mavuna echad meshiv b'tzayin. It was built 7 times better. Zakti Gemara, vayter frakt Gemara, v'Hebron Troshim Havi, was Hebron taka rocky? V'ksiv, it says in Shmuel Beis, Parak Vav, Pasuk Zayin through Tes, v'yihi meketz abam, shana v'yomer avshama amelech elchana, and then it says v'sham, it's nindu v'yakam v'yelech Hebrona. So the shaila is, why to go to Hebron? And Mizbeach was only given. Rav Avia said, who went to bring kvasim from Hebron, since it was an area of pasture and there's a lot of good animals, a lot of good livestock. But Tanya learned in the Brisa that the best karbanis, behemoths for karbanis, are elim mimoyav and kvasim mechebron. So you see that Hebron was a good area to bring animals, and it wasn't just a rocky place. Like the Gemara, Mina, from this you have a tshuva to Shiloh, because Avada Hebron is a place that's Troshim, but just that I did the Klisha Ara, since it's the land over there, you can't plant in it because it's a lot of rocks. So Mela of the Raya, so it brings up very good. It brings up very good grass for pasture for animals, v'shami kinyana, and it makes all the animals fat. Then it's good for them. So therefore, Avisham went from there to bring kvasim. However, it's not a raya that it was good land for planting. It was good for just growing grass for the animals, that they could eat grass, but not for actual payers and stuff like that.